This time out, we're going to work with sectional track, and we're going to make a simple oval with some sidings just to show you how sectional track works. And it's going to look something like this. So we have a nice little oval here. We have a passing siding on this end. We got a little yard here, 2-track yard. Maybe this could be an engine service facility, or it could be another industry. And then we got some industrial trackage down here. So let's get rid of that. And what we're going to use here is we're going to use the Atlas Code 100 snap track. So let's get rid of that guy. Let's go up here. Let's go to track libraries. We'll go to Atlas and we'll pick Code 100. And right now we don't need to worry about layers. So we'll make the layers tab go away. Now I have already laid out all the pieces that I need just to save some time. So let's zoom in here a little bit so we can get some working area. I'll put those up there. And we're going to start with the left hand loop. So normally what you would do if you didn't have all your pieces up here is you would come over and you would grab a piece of track and you would say, oh, I need several copies of that. And you just do Control C and then go Control V, Control V, Control V, and put a bunch out there. And then you have something to work with. You don't have to keep running back over here. Let's get rid of those. Now we're going to take our first piece of track. We're going to add in another one. And we're going to add in another one. Now we've worked with angles and we want this track to be on the 90 degree or the 270, whichever one you want to look at. And we could come up here and we could click on that and we could type in 270 degrees, hit enter, and now we're perfectly horizontal. Or I could grab a straight piece and I could put it down here because we know that when we put in track, it comes in perfectly horizontal. And then just go grab this guy and drag him over and connect him. And now you'll notice it's not connecting, and that's because you always have to grab the piece that you want to connect. So we'll just do that. And now we know we've got a 90-degree curve and it's perfectly aligned. So now we need to add in a small piece right here at the end of this curve. We need an 847-1. So we'll go up here and grab this one, which we've already put out. And we're going to connect that. And then we're going to finish our curve. We'll just drag these down. And there we go. We've got a 90-degree curve. So let's finish the top of our layout here. We're going to add these. Now we need a left-hand switch, so we'll go grab this guy. I know some of my track is hidden up in the corner. And we need a right hand, so we'll go grab that. Now we need to build our curve out here. Now I could go and I could grab and I could start putting in pieces and build that curve up. But what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're just going to hold down Control and we're going to select all these pieces. And we're going to say Control C, come over here, do a Control V. And we're going to flip it. Bring it up, grab the right piece so we can connect. And there we go. Now we've got the right-hand side of our loop. So let's finish off the bottom of our oval. We're going to need a 281 left hand. And we're going to flip that guy around. Whoops. And we'll flip him like that. Drag him in. Now we need a 282 right hand. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to flip it around. Snap it in there. And now we'll finish off the bottom. And on this last piece, you'll notice that we only get a blue dot on one end. But watch what happens when we let it go. We get the connection on both ends. That's because the track fit perfectly. So now let's start our little passing siding that we're going to make here. We need to start with a 10-degree 18-inch radius curve on both sides of the switch. I'm going to drag that down here. Watch what I do here. I'm not going to flip it. I'm just going to do that and let it flip itself like that. Now we'll put in the rest of our curve. 2 833s there. Now theoretically what we need is we need an 834, and that's a 15-degree 18-inch radius curve to fill this right here. But if we pop that in, you'll notice we don't get a connection on that side. And that's because a lot of times SnapTrack does not line up. And you would just sort of have to finesse it, push it a little bit this way, push it a little bit that way, and make it line up. We're looking at maybe 1/8 of an inch being off here, so it's not that bad. Maybe 1/4 of an inch. Let's zoom back out. The other thing you could do is you could just take a piece of flex track and put it in there. Or you could mark the curve and use a piece of flex track for this if you didn't want to push the sectional track around. So you might want to consider using a piece of flex track. All right, let's start putting in our little yard over here. We're going to start with a 6-inch piece there. Then we're going to put in a left-hand switch. Then we're going to put in a right-hand switch. Now we want to make this track come off at a slight angle. So we're going to add a 10-degree curve there. And then we're just going to put in a couple of straight pieces. And let's make it a little longer. We'll put in a 6-inch piece there. There we go. Now let's add in our yard. Need another piece up here. Now let's put some bumpers in at the end of our yard track. So we're going to use the 843. And if you look at it, you can see here's your handle over here, but there's no handle over here. This is the end of the bumper. So we're just going to drag that guy over, pop him into place. Now, if we take this guy and let's just rotate him around, and we're going to put him up there. If we put him here, the end of the yard tracks are not going to line up. So let's do that. Let's kind of put him right there, and let's zoom in. And if you count up the squares, you're probably going to need about a 2-inch filler here. So let's get a 2-inch filler. That's an 847-2. We'll move this guy out of the way. Put that on there. And now the ends of our yard tracks line up. So let's do our little industrial area down here. We're going to put in a couple of 9-inch straight. We're going to drop in a right-hand switch, just like that. We're going to put in a little bit of a switching lead here. Could also be an industry there. And again, for visual interest, we're going to make this one go off at a slight angle. So we're going to grab an 835, put that in there. And then we'll put in some straight pieces. And I'm short a straight piece, so let's select it, then do a Control-C, then do a Control-V. And we're going to add a bumper to this guy as well. So we ended up with a few extra pieces because we didn't use these on this side. And apparently I miscounted. No big deal. Let's get rid of those. And let's take a closer look at this guy. So here we are. Got a nice little oval. We got a passing siding here. We got a little yard. We got engine service facility here. We got some industrial switching down here. We got bumpers on the end of the tracks. Over here, we don't care if the trains run onto the ground. But you could add a bumper down there if you wanted to. And the same up here for the engine service. So that's it for this time. Next time we will show you how to add insulators so that you could run multiple trains if you wanted to, and we'll isolate some of these sections. We'll also draw a 4x8 sheet of plywood and see if our railroad does indeed fit on it. So we'll see you then.